up, everybody?
Ending early in the day, the sky will stay cloudy, the high 51.
All right, so for the few people that were in here and got to see that, that's a new little intro, man, for the stream. I spent a lot of time working on that yesterday, so hopefully you guys thought that was pretty neat, man. Chase, I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I was fired up about that. I'm gonna let it run again when we come back when more people get in here because I'm like, or maybe I'll do it for hour number 2. I'm gonna work on the timing those lines of radio, which would be cool. But welcome in, everybody.
Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller.
I redid the
100.9 and
backdrop
12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, High 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Hope everybody's doing well. Not only that, hope you guys are warm. It's cold outside, man. Maybe I'm getting soft, Chase. I don't know. But it's cold to me. It's cold to me. Every day I like, walking my dog, take him to a park, kind of getting his exercise, and it's important for him and myself. But this weather, man, it's been cold, wet, rainy, and it's just not been great. But hopefully you guys are staying warm. But hey, still a blessing to wake up every morning, get the luxury of going outside. So never going to complain about that. And I see some folks in the chat saying they're supposed to get some snow where they're at. Hopefully that's not the case here because I could probably do without the snow right now. But I guess it's cool every once in a while, Chase, to get some snow. You spent time in Louisiana growing up, some time in California, Mississippi. Chase, you're probably like me. You probably can count on one hand how many times you've seen snow. Is that right?
You got it down to a T.
Yeah. So we're not used to it down here, and people already can't really drive great. So that makes it even more of a challenge for some of the folks that are a little, I don't know, driving challenge. Who knows? But dang, a lot of people in the chat are mentioning snow. I know we got the D'Agostino family. I definitely said it wrong this time, but I always get it right. The Agostino family in New York, right? Mike and Jake and company. I know they're up there. So that means the snow is the norm for them. But for us, not very common at all. But it seems like there's other folks in the chat that I think are from like the Georgia areas and other places. And they're mentioning snow too. So it must be a cold front or something. Who knows? I'll save all that for James Spann. But what I will do is I'm going to cover some football, and I won't be doing it alone. We'll be joined by our friend Slade Bolden here at 11:30 again. We're going to be talking about this Georgia matchup. Speaking of ATL in Georgia, we will be talking about it. Slade will join us here in about 15 minutes or so. We're going to dive into that conversation. A lot of talk on this game, not only for the excitement of the SEC championship, but Chase, in some upsetting news, the injury report. Right. A lot of people are a little concerned seeing the latest injury report that did come out last night. And I'm sure you guys have already seen this. It's not breaking news, but there's a name that popped up on there, Chase, that many people were shocked when they saw it. And not only was it on the report, but it was on the out. LT Overton, who we actually listened to yesterday. We listened to him post-practice talk about a number of things. Auburn game, he previewed the Georgia game. And then what really hurts is one of the final things he said on the interview was, growing up watching the SEC championship game, he'd always watched it from afar. And now he was just, so excited for the opportunity to actually play in it. And then to hear that news, man, it definitely is very, it's disappointing, man, for him, right? Not from like a fan perspective. I mean, obviously we know the loss it is, but it's disappointing, very sad, knowing how excited he was, and we know how passionate he is. I mean, you listen to him in the interviews, man. This dude loves football and loves the opportunity to go out there and play this game. Well, hated to hear that news. However, we all know how this thing goes, right? It's the next man up mentality. We'll talk about who that next man up or next men, right? In my opinion, it'll be next men up. To take the place of LT Overton in this game. But there's also some other guys. One interesting thing, Chase, though, that I noted, you don't see Parker Brailsford on this injury report. I think that's probably, if I'm just being completely honest, I feel like it could be a little bit of a, not necessarily a deception move, but listen, there's no way he went from how he looked, as hobbled as he looked in the Iron Bowl, to not having any type of ailment going into this game. again, I know people are going to be mad I'm saying that, but I'm just being honest with you. If I had to guess, he's still banged up as well. And the only reason I'm saying that is because the injuries are piling up for us. Not only us, you look at the Georgia side of things, they've definitely been dealt a pretty rough hand when it comes to injuries as well. But I didn't see Parker Brailsford on here, and the reason I was shocked is just because how he looked against Auburn. I just can't imagine he healed up that quick. I do expect him, since he's definitely not on here, to be back out there because he went out there and was a go for the Iron Bowl. But I don't think he's near 100%. The good news is when Vandermark came in, he did his thing. And if we do need that to be the case again, we feel fine. But I'm just going to be honest with you, and I don't have any groundbreaking news, or this is not official, but some of the guys in the questionable category, Cuevas and Jam specifically, I'm not very confident that those guys are going to be rolling Saturday. In fact, I'd probably lean that they're probably going to be in that out category come Saturday. Maybe a game time decision, but from my perspective, I would not really expect those guys to be a go. Not saying they can't, but if I had to say right now, I wouldn't really expect those guys out there. But we'll talk about who can fill in those spots, and we'll talk about this game as a whole. Again, Slade Bolden will be joining us at 11:30, so we'll do that with him. Plus, a couple other things we definitely want to talk about. Signing day was yesterday, Chase. A lot of people excited about it. I need to go back and see exactly where Alabama finished, depending on what site and service. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but now that it's pretty much concluded, again, early signing day, there also is another one still. Can't forget about that. But talking about signing day, there was one thing that I did find really interesting, and it was a video clip. I think T had posted it, but Dwight had tagged us in it. It basically was Bob Welton, who I know extremely well. He was here when I was here. He's in charge of a lot of recruiting stuff. Player development side of things, all that stuff, director of personnel, all that. And Courtney Morgan, they were joined by Robin Harper and Chris Stewart, who were hosting the signing day show. But they had a conversation. It was about a 4-minute conversation or so, at least this clip was, of them really detailing, the ins and outs of what recruiting looks like nowadays. And I thought it was really, well, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I understand how it works just because I talked to a bunch of people, involved in it. The way they explained it, I think basically summarized exactly, like in great detail, how the experience is nowadays. Totally different. So for a lot of people that just kind of thought, recruiting is recruiting. No, I mean, they go into detail about, roster retention and having different budgets, for roster retention, for transfer portal, for high school guys, and how that affects and impacts other various things. And when one thing doesn't go one way, it's not so much as a bad thing as it used to be, because you then can pour into another. It was just a really good conversation. So we'll definitely listen to that, and I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on that as well. Plus, something else real quick before we hit this timeout, Chase, came up that I saw that I thought was very interesting. And it wasn't the first time I've heard of something like this, but it definitely was very, very interesting to see it then. Vanderbilt, Chase, allegedly, I don't know if you saw his report, had explored the idea of hosting a final game, an extra game. I shouldn't say a final, an extra football game, in hopes of somehow convincing the committee that they deserve a spot in the college football playoff. Obviously, it did not come to fruition, but they did explore the possibility of playing an exempt 13th game this weekend as a way to hopefully give them one final chance to showcase that they deserve a spot. It didn't happen, but I'm just curious what you guys think about that. I mean, first they're fighting to get their quarterback. I mean, 8 years of eligibility. Now they're trying to play a 13th game. I mean, these guys, I respect the hustle, man. I respect it. And I hate it that a team like that is more than likely left out, but hey, I respect the hustle. We can talk a little bit about that as well. So all that and more will be coming up. But first, we got to hit a timeout right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Be back after a quick timeout. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Reagan, owner of R&R Cigars, the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa.
Good signing day yesterday. Yeah, man, I got to go back and see everything. I know we had a couple guys flip. Not too much talk about that, and then especially after you hear the recruiting clip, you realize it's a little bit different. It's a different world now when it comes to signing day and recruiting in general, man. There's not as much how do you say it? I wouldn't say not as much emphasis, but the losses aren't as big of losses as they once were, as we know. I mean, you've got transfer portal, you got roster retention, and not to spoil the whole video, but pretty much a generalized summary would be when you're retaining your roster at such a high rate, you don't have the need to go sign 30-plus guys. And it was interesting. That part was a little new to me, the whole explanation on, well, a team that's going and signing 30-something guys, I mean, they're expecting to let go of a number of guys. Some guys are going to, inevitably leave, but it sounded like that means those programs also are probably cutting ties with some folks too, which further, explains that this is truly a business nowadays, Yeah, I was exaggerating on 8 years of eligibility, but to be fair, what is he at, 6? I mean, the guy's like, 24, almost 25? No, I'm not knocking it. Hell, I don't blame him. I mean, look at how that extra year has changed his life. The dude is one of the top candidates to win the Heisman now. Again, think about this with Pavia. If he did not come back for this extra year, if he was not granted this extra year, none of this would happen for the guy. He would have left Vanderbilt with the win over Alabama and Auburn, and it was great, but he wasn't nearly touching the success that he's seeing now. The guy's busting with the boys, with Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaughn's right-hand man. I mean, I've seen this guy primetime UFC fights in New York. I don't know how long of a career Pavia is going to have in the NFL, and that's not me trying to hate on the guy whatsoever. Hell, I hope he goes and plays 15 years and becomes a Hall of Famer. But the reality is I just don't know how his game translates to the next level. I'm sure listen, I don't know where he gets drafted. I'm sure he gets an opportunity without a doubt. But just knowing the conversion rate of college quarterbacks to being successful quarterback, think about how many successful college quarterbacks there are that, spend a year or two or they're a backup for several years. I mean, it's just part of it, right? That's just the reality of the NFL. That said, I don't see him being some NFL, legend. That being said, I mean, I don't blame him for taking advantage of all these opportunities right now. A career college football player. Yeah, and I hate sounding like that because it sounds like you're hating on him, but I promise I don't mean it in that at all. It's really just, I mean, his game, I just don't see him translating to the next level. Like another quarterback would. Maybe, I don't know, give me somebody. Could be anybody.
Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, so we got a couple minutes. Slay will be on here in about 5-6 minutes or so. So until then, we'll chop up a couple things. I want to listen to that recruiting video, but the video itself is like 4 minutes, so we wouldn't have a chance to respond. And once we talk to Slade, that's probably going to be 20-30 minutes or so. Then we'll have to circle back. So I'm going to save the recruiting piece for a minute, but I kind of want to piggyback kind of off the conversation we talked about with Vanderbilt because it kind of ties in to the whole college football playoff deal, which we talked at great length with Gray Robertson yesterday, my partner on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, about that whole deal, right? And this just was surprising to me because, number one, I wasn't sure how this would happen. And again, what I'm referring to is there was a report from Pete Thamel, who is very reputable, and it basically states that, again, number 14 Vanderbilt, a bubble team, a 2-loss SEC team who's had a heck of a season, especially given their history, right? We're talking about Vanderbilt here. I mean, we know what they did last year, and that was great, but for them to come back and do it again and more, personally, I feel bad for these guys, especially, talking with Gray, and there's a chance you see a JMU or a Duke team in there. And I know the reason we designed the playoffs like this was to get opportunities for those types of teams, but I'm also looking at a team like Vanderbilt, who I know we played them. They're a decent football team. I mean, I don't know how much better they would be in the playoffs than a team like JMU. I don't know too much about JMU, but I would much rather see a team led by this guy who some people find him annoying. I'll be honest with you. Some might find him a little entertaining. I know it's a little extra, but it makes for some type of entertainment factor, right, at the end of the day. That said, allegedly Vanderbilt explored the possibility of playing an exempt 13th game this weekend to give them one final showcase. It says there was interest from the team, university officials, the athletic department, and coaching staff. Ultimately, the operational and legislative requirements, along with last-minute scheduling constraints, could not support the game. Makes you wonder. I mean, number one, who would they have played? Because personally, I feel like if you're going to try to go showcase something to prove a point, I feel like it has to be a worthy opponent, right? What good would it do? You go play some, group of 4 opponent or somebody beat up on somebody. That's not going to get anything done. So who would they have tried to schedule a game with? Like, who would be willing to accept that? You know what I mean, Chase? Like, to me, I just can't really think in my head, like, what team, maybe Miami, maybe, since they're also a bubble team. That it sounds like they're kind of thinking along the lines of some of the things that we were talking about recently about like some of these playing games. Like, I mean, don't they do that like in the NBA? They have these like playing games, right, for these teams that are trying to get a spot. Man, I mean, maybe you come up with something like that. But I feel like at the end of the day, we're just going to naturally just keep expanding. And at some point, you kind of got to draw a line. So even though I feel bad for a team like a Vanderbilt or a Texas, I mean, poor Digger, man. Digger called in at the end of the show, and I mean, you could just hear the sadness, right, the disappointment in the tone of voice that he had calling. Normally Digger's a little bit more upbeat, man. You could hear it, man. He was hurt, and I get it. And look, team like Texas, they schedule Ohio State to start the season. However, I got to roll with Jackson on the side of the argument where it's easy to focus on Ohio State. And yes, if you would have scheduled a cupcake game, you could have lost to Florida and been okay more than likely. Maybe. I don't know, though, because these other teams that are 2-loss teams, they still aren't in there. But you got to be accountable. I mean, you also lost to a Florida team that wasn't a good football team. And I know he started bringing up the Florida State thing and whatnot. And I hear him, but at the end of the day, they have 3 losses and we have 2 losses. And if you guys are wondering why I'm comparing those, we had a call at the end of the show, Digger, who is a known Texas fan, but he calls shows on this station. I like Digger, man. At first, he definitely kind of was, a little much, but then he came around and, he's okay with me. But anyway, look, 3-loss team, 2-loss team, it's pretty easy there. I see you guys in the chat. You guys are agreeing that maybe a playing game or some type of deal like that wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, at this point, why not? I mean, I think it ups the competition. I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to add more games because I know how brutal football games are, college or pro, and it's a lot on players. But I hate to sound like this or be that guy, Chase, but especially when you're hearing the numbers they're laughing about yesterday during the recruiting show. I mean, hell, brother, I mean, y'all might have to play another game or two. I mean, listen, the people are getting paid pretty handsomely, man. They're kind of joking around about it, but there's some bread going around the table. So if you got to play extra game, I think they'll be just okay with some of the things that they're able to get nowadays when it comes to NIL. Let's hit a quick timeout to stay on schedule. We got Slade scheduled to hop on here shortly. So when he does that, we'll talk with him. Definitely talk a lot about this Alabama SEC championship game. If you guys have any questions regarding that, definitely let us know. We brought up some tape last time, and I know you guys really enjoyed that. We broke down a couple plays from the Auburn game. Really might have just been one. If you guys want us to do that, we can, whether it's either Georgia or us. But I have to see what games we have for Georgia because I was trying to get the Georgia Tech game. I didn't see it last time, but maybe it's on there. We'll check it out. But we'd love to dive into some tape too. So all that coming up next here on the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store. America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Get your life back.
The holiday season is.
Sorry, I just wanted to spam that again just because I was excited. if you guys are just joining, I played it earlier. That's the new intro for the stream. Now, obviously, we're live on radio, but I got my creative juices flowing yesterday. I was trying to do something else. Matter of fact, I was trying to update the background a little bit, and then I stumbled upon the intro stuff, and ended up doing that. But it looks like I'm probably going to make one too that says, instead of stream starting soon, we'll probably do one that says like we'll be right back. Matter of fact, I might just go edit that here in a minute, but we'll be joined by Slade first, and I'll probably save that for after the show. I just get excited when I start coming across stuff like that. By the way, we have anybody in here? I know a lot of you guys ask me to do certain things and I always like forget who like does what. If anybody, because we had one person that wanted to do some what was like the music side of things. Like if you guys want to make some some audio tracks or whatever that we can use, non-copyrighted, of course, let me know. And then the other thing is, if we have anybody that's interested in doing like clips, like clipping stuff. For example, we got Slim Shady down here, Slade, right? We always get some good content to clip up. I normally do it, but I kind of got my hands full with a lot of stuff. So if you guys are interested in doing that, definitely let me know. I'd be glad to take the help. All right, we got Slade on here. Slade, what's up, dude?
Oh, not much. Just wonderful, cold and rainy Thursday. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain. Same thing here, bro. It's freezing, man. Now, I have this new routine where I walk my dog or I take him to a park. There's a park in my neighborhood, and it's just been tough, man. I'm soft, bro. I'm like not wanting to do it because it's so cold.
Yeah, trust me. And we're not even that old.
I know. I'm like, dude, I always think to myself, I'm like, bro, did I just get this? When did I get so soft, man? I'm like, I don't know. Like in football, I remember like training camp, bro. I mean, we're out there like 100 degrees, got pads and stuff, like running 40s at the end of it. I mean, it's literally, it was like, I'm not gonna say hell, but I mean, it was tough.
Yeah,
say the
I
least.
mean, there it's funny because I mean, shoot, just transition. You know, I felt like I've gone through the hardest things any human could possibly go through, and that everything else after that should be easy. But it's funny because that's just something because we were so trained and mentally like focused on, hey, we have to do this, we have to perform, and it was all physical, right?
Yeah.
So now that you're not like having to do that, it's not a part of your career or your future. It is kind of tough to like get yourself motivated to do even the little things like that, like you said, because you're
Facts.
like, I really don't have to, and that's where the discipline has to kick in, and it's like, all right, I gotta get my butt up and go work out at 6 a.m. if I want to
Oh
be
yeah.
mentally stable during the day, at least for me personally.
No, dude, I'm with you, bro. I feel like I have to get good movement into like, maintain my mood and like I don't know. I feel I'm the same way, bro. It's funny, but I almost found myself I have that problem. But then also the other side is like I'm too regimented, where I
Mhm.
almost feel like it's like I need to get out that idea of like, oh, I have to do these things to be successful. Because in football, like that's ingrained in you. There
Yeah.
we go. We're about to come back.
No doubt. I'm with you.
And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge Tide 100.9 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. We're joined by, we'll call Slade. Slade's like a co-host at this point. He's in and out now, but we're get him on. We're being greedy, man. We're taking his time, his free time during the day to get him to talk some football. But you guys love it, and I think he enjoys it. But Slade, welcome in, man. Good having you back on here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's nice to be had. No, trust me. I definitely enjoy it because I had to put out some fires all morning, and it's nice to get away from the office and take a little break, and instead of talking renewals, open enrollment, insurance, all the boring fun stuff that goes with that. It's nice to get on here and talk a little football. It takes your mind off things because, at the end of the day, that's my first true love. So
Fact.
we always talking about our first true love.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Slade, we got the SEC championship game this weekend. Something we're both familiar with. I played in 4 of them out of 5 years. How many did you play in? And wait, were you here? No, you left early. 4 years.
Yeah, so I played. Well, I didn't really play in 2018. The one where Jalen came in, had that game-winning drive and scored. I was happy. I was very happy. Trust me. I was more worried
Mhm.
about what we were doing after that game. That's what I was excited about because I was, I was, I was just hanging out on the side. Hey, did my part
Listen,
though. I was cheering on the guys that were making it happen. But
yeah.
2019 we missed it because we lost to Auburn, unfortunately at Jordan Hare, and then 2020 we played. I played in that game. Played Florida uh, shootout game. They had a really great offense, and then 2021, of course, played Georgia again.
Yeah.
So played Georgia twice, played Florida once, and obviously unfortunately, I still remember the 2021 situation where we beat up on Auburn and then took the L in the national championship. But that's what
Mm.
happens when you got one starting receiver left and he's short and white and slow.
Look, you couldn't do everything on your own. A lot of people do feel, not to go off track, but a lot of people do feel injuries played a huge role in that championship game. Let me just ask you directly. I mean, because you just mentioned, I mean, everything kind of resorted to you, pretty much one guy and maybe some other young guys.
Yeah.
Once we had the second injury, because Mechie went down previously, right? And then it was JMO that went down in the game. Does that sound right? If I remember that right?
Yeah. So Mechie got hurt
In SEC championship game, right?
yeah, like either second or third quarter, SEC championship, ACL, and I think that's what hurt, kept him from going first round, to be honest. And then JMO got hurt in the second quarter, right before half. So, you know, obviously they figured us out. They really did. I mean, obviously Kirby, and I can't remember who their technically defensive coordinator was that year, but they figured our offense out pretty well. And not having someone who could take the top off, keeping the DVs honest and from keeping anything over their head, it was
Mm.
like, okay, well, we know how to, not necessarily how to stop me as a receiver, but the schemes that I had been running, that's one thing. Like I always I praise. I know a lot of Bama fans are have a different opinion about Coach O'Brien than I do. He was I really like Coach O'Brien just as a person, but he was my guy. But I praise this play calling. I mean, it's like, people knock him and it's
Hmm.
like, well, we should have used now maybe the next year could have been, maybe been different, right? But
Sure.
my last year, his first year there, I mean, we were like the number one offense in the country. I mean, Bryce wins a Heisman. I mean, yeah, we had great players, but we've always had great players. You got to be
Right.
able to have a good offensive scheme. So I've always thought he uh, called the game really, really well. And I think when that happened, I felt like there were some things I could have, because I always felt like I could run any route. I may have been better at, the kind of the options, the, 10 to 12 yard routes, where I'm kind of using my decisiveness, quickness, but I could still run outside routes and because I had to, you had to work every position. And, being a guy like me, I was going against top corners every day at practice. Like I had to figure out a way to get open.
Yeah.
But I felt like by the time we got to that point, it was kind of tough. But, so I don't blame him at all. It's just I think there were some things that we could have done differently, because what I did a lot, where I had the most success, would be running things out of like a bunch formation. I remember I was talking Tuesday about how I'd be like the third guy in the bunch and I'd run like a with release choice route, but the way they would uh I guess combo, or the way the DBs and the star or the nickel safety would work our bunch formation is that the top guy, and I don't even know how they manned it, but it looked like what we called halo, or lock and combo, where the nickel safety would lock the point man, or he would go with the back guy. But it was really just like strange man where it looked like he was about to lock the point man, but he was just waiting on me. So he may like jam the point man, throw him off his route. The other two guys would either freeway, take
Short it.
whatever went their way, or they may even lock that they man that up. But I would like with release because I had to, create that separation just for Bryce, for the coverage, for the timing, and all that. So I would with release, and then this guy's on me because once he saw that, and I think that's what Kirby and the defense coordinator did a good job is recognizing that type of scheme and formation. So I would with release, and he's right there. So I had to try to speed up my route, and I don't necessarily think that's always beneficial because especially if it's a timing scheme, right? Everybody's, releasing the way they need to. And I'd run a choice. And man, like I just would get up to the line and he'd be right there. And it's kind of hard to make one move and then you got to make another. And then I have to, release, cut, break out or break in. And it's hard to kind of judge that when it's man because you're not able to see the rest of the defense because I got worry about this guy right now.
Right.
Normally, if it's a typical zone situation, I have time to read the defense. Okay, I can break in, I can break out now, or sit it down. But I would run those options out of the backfield, and we were killing them. I'd get 8, 10. I'd get first downs or close to it. We did that a couple times. That's one thing I wish we would have went back to. And there were some times where I ran like some deep digs, some basic routes where I would get open. And, I think one time I was able to get my hands on the ball and I was like falling on the ground and may hit the ground. I can't remember. And I thought I caught it, but I guess I didn't see the ball hit the ground. But, stuff like that, I think they really just figured us out and they did a good job. And that's what the biggest challenge is just playing a good team again. It's obviously we have to do a better job of um, learning from the previous game and learning from the games, against our other opponents and just updating kind of what they're running from a defense and offense perspective. And obviously, being healthy helps. So that's another big issue too.
100%. Now, I love your breakdown of that moment. A lot of people go back to that game. Anytime they talk about Alabama, Georgia, that's the one a lot of people are a little hurt about on the Alabama side.
Me too.
Because understandably. I mean, listen, y'all were playing some damn good football, man. And like you said, I mean, it's just they figured something out, and the injuries definitely didn't help. But I guess we can put it. It's Slade's fault. That's basically what he just said, guys.
Yeah,
It's his fault.
I'll take the responsibility. Trust me. Like,
no,
hey,
I'm totally kidding.
I'm the
Wait,
first.
who else
No,
was it? No, I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Who else was it once they went down? Obviously, you were like the premier guy after that for sure. But who was a freshman or
so
who else? I don't even remember.
well, and this name probably doesn't ring nicely to the Bama fans, but Ajay Hall, who was probably
yeah.
one of the more gifted guys that I've ever seen. And we had Trayshawn Holden and Javon Baker end up being really good players. And at the
Yeah.
time we're good players. Like I'm not taking anything away from them, but they're young. They were maybe not ready for the moment in that time. And not saying they weren't, or that's just how the game worked out. And
No, I understand.
we didn't really. Ajay was going to kind of be like if we had to replace JMO in that situation, he was that guy to take the top off, and he just wasn't ready. We always preach, right? Next man up. And I was ready when in 2020 when J Dub got hurt. I'm sure you've been in similar situations and had to
Oh,
go
yeah.
in when you were, not necessarily the starter. And I
Yeah.
just don't think those guys prepared as well as they could have. No, because shoot, it was just me, Mechie, and JMO all year, and JoJo Earl would come in and spill me off. But he kind of got banged up, and he was also a freshman. So those things all account. It is tough. I mean, it's a huge moment. I mean, and man, that Indianapolis Colts Stadium, it still haunts me because we lost that game, and then I had to go to the combine and run in that place, and I ran slow, and that's a weird stadium. I don't
It
know
is.
why.
No, I understand. I mean, hell, I didn't have the best combine either. I was coming off that hamstring because I about tore my hamstring off the bone against Oklahoma in 2018. And
Yeah.
I wasn't even healthy. Really, I was probably 70% at best. But I was like, man, if I could get healthy enough to do the drills, I'm like, I have to at least because I could jump. I had a great vert, jump 38, and that was great. But then I got to the drills, man, and between me not feeling 100% myself, and then the awkwardness of I don't think people understand this because when you watch it on TV, yeah, it looks empty, but to be a player going out there and it's full speed, rapid fire, you're barely running on sleep because you've been meeting, doing
Oh,
psychological tests the whole week. I'm in the hospital 12 hours because they're going back to injuries that I had in high school that they want to, get an MRI on. I did like 2, and they wanted a third on my neck. And I'm like, listen, I had a little piece of bone removed from my neck in high school. I just played 5 years at the University of Alabama. To hell with me sitting in another
yeah.
I'm not doing it. It's but it was yeah, that was quite the experience. So I don't
Dude, I can go
I
on and
understand.
on about that. Like, there's some things that we experience as players that, we can't really say to the media at that time because, it may come off as an excuse or not having accountability. Uh, but that one is, I didn't run what I obviously wanted to run on the 40, and that was kind of my big question mark. How fast is he, right? And I
Mhm.
mean, I could tell you I wasn't fastest, but the week before going into that, uh, combine week, or I guess I had like about 4 or 5 days off before I went to Indianapolis. Dude, I ran a 4.51 laser with now
Mm.
maybe my uh, trainer down and I love them, but maybe they were kind of, late on the start and quick on the finish. But I was like, oh, you give me 4 or 5 days, I might break a 4.4, and
Mm.
and not saying that would have helped me get drafted or whatever, but I think it would have been it couldn't have hurt, that's for sure.
True.
And
True.
like you said, you have meetings all day, you do interviews, and you're in bed late and up early in the morning, and you're walking around, you're on your feet every day, and then you
Yeah.
run at the end of the last day. So it really takes a toll on you. And like you said, man, I got flagged. I had 2 high ankle sprains in college, and then I had AC joint.
Mm.
Played, but the next week after both, right? So AC is like your shoulder. Played both games after the game I got hurt in, and man, the way they did it my year, they different from how they previously did it was they broke like teams into different rooms. There was like 4 or 5 rooms,
Mhm.
and I had passed every room. We got to the last room, and some scout or team physician, doctor, whatever, was like, "Yeah, can we get a MRI on that ankle?" And I'm like, "Shit." Now, some guys like you probably, were in the MRI tank for hours and hours. I was only like 2 hours or maybe three, but that could have been a time where I'm recovering. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
all those little things play a huge role. And then, your adrenaline, you're nervous, you're anxious, you're trying to,
I damn
everything's
sure
on you.
was. Yeah, I mean, because they just said, "Backers, let's go," and I'm like, "Now?" And the next thing you know, I'm talking about boom, boom,
Mm,
boom, I just rapid fire, and I'm like, it's a lot. Coaches like going hard, and you're like, man, you want to do your thing, and then it's televised, and the stadium is just empty. It's just quiet. All eyes are on you. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it felt low key a little uncomfortable. So that's why, like, when I came out of pro day, I killed my pro day because I mean it's
yeah.
here, and I mean I do. I was like, thank God, because and I was expecting that. I had that like that desire, that fire, because I'm like, man, I didn't do how I want to do in the drills at the combine. So then pro day definitely was, a situation that led me to really go out there and excel. And I was pleased with how I did there. But I want to ask you this, because I know you probably, I don't know how much time you got today, and I definitely want to get your thoughts on this. Speaking of Georgia and injuries, we talked about that, your experience there. Unfortunately, that's kind of a similar situation that we're seeing right now. I don't know if you've seen the latest injury report, but LT Overton, a big
Mm,
factor on defense, one of the best guys on the defense, listed as out in this football game. We already know Jam got banged up against Auburn. Cuevas didn't play. We know how important he is as a tight end. There's a lot of injuries piling up. Now, Georgia also has their fair share, but if you look at us, I mean, these are some key players. I mean, our center's still banged up, or our tight end, who's been a huge piece for Ty, our running back who just came back to health. I mean, and now one of our best defenders on the defensive line. How concerned are you about those injuries in this matchup? Like you said, it's hard to beat a team twice, and this is a Georgia team that has been trending, upward since we last saw them in week 4 or week 5, I should say, of college football.
Yeah. So I went back and watched some of the previous game against Georgia, and that was, like you said, like the key players. That the one thing we struggled on, because and they Georgia always runs the ball well, but they were able to run the ball on us pretty well. And having a guy
200
like
plus.
Right, and having a guy like LT Overton out, that is a worry. Trying to control the interior trenches, and I think with offensively speaking, we know we need to run the ball more efficiently. So having Jam not healthy doesn't help us, but I'm not really too worried about the running back room. We're worried about the O-line, but having Cuevas not healthy and active, that could hurt because he made some really big plays against Georgia, and that's you when you try to basically spread out the offense and get everybody involved, keep everybody, keep the defense honest by being able to pick and pull who you can get the ball in their hands. The tight end's super important, having a good one. Now, I'm not saying we don't have other guys that are good too, but he's done well all year. So, and he did really well against Georgia last time we played him. So that is a concern. But it's one of those things where, like we talked about my 2021 national champions experience, are the guys behind them, are they ready to step up? Are they prepared? Are they going to attack, even though they may be a 2 on the depth chart, even going in? Are they prepared to play? And that's the one thing that we don't know. That's what goes in and out every day in the facility. So it is a concern, but I think at the end of the day, as long as we have good depth, and I believe we do, I think we'll be just fine. It won't be too big of a worry, because we've had guys out throughout the year, and we've been able to maintain and step up. But we want to put our best foot forward and attack this game with everything we got, because unfortunately, I think if we lose this, we're probably out.
It's interesting you say that. It's because a lot of people think we're kind of in a safe spot now that we've jumped Notre Dame. And I think that is a belief. So the good news is there's a lot of people that do feel like we still will secure a spot. However, I completely understand there is a concern just knowing how this committee has been, and then especially as wishy-washy as first. This is what really blew me, that at first it was, you struggled at South Carolina, an unranked team. LSU was a tight game. You didn't play your best ball. But in the Iron Bowl, even though, yes, we started off pretty strong, going up 17-0, we still ended up playing a close game. Hell, they were marching down the field with a chance to tie it. And then they gave us brownie points for that. So now they've kind of flipped. And we all know what it was. They just were trying to right a wrong. We should have never been behind Notre Dame in the first place. So I will say, I do think if we lose this game, at least from my perspective, I feel like we still make it, just because that alone, but also the fact that if you do leave the SEC, I guess, number 1 seed out of the college football playoffs for playing an extra game in the SEC championship, all hell's going to break loose. So to me, Slade, I'll be honest, I don't think unless we go out there and get curb stomped, which, again, I got my wooden desk, it's not happening. But if something crazy like that happened and we just looked awful and the injuries piled up even more, something maybe. But I will say looking at Georgia, it is interesting because they have been trending since we played them last, up. I thought Gunnar Stockton's been playing some good football throughout the course of the year. He's been getting better and better. Their defense, to me, wasn't great. And that was one of the biggest issues when we played them last. They couldn't get off the field on third down. Like, we dominated third down. Now, in the second half, they came up with some adjustments and made some changes, and they definitely played a lot better. But if you go back and watch, getting after the quarterback, they've struggled with that, but they've found ways and other guys that can help pressure the quarterback. They're still not like elite at it, but they've improved. I think it's going to be interesting, like you mentioned last time, about the line of scrimmage battle and how important that stuff will be, because when I look at this matchup, man, I know we're banged up with, Brailsford and Now Dewberry also on there. So we, talk about the battle line of scrimmage. That's something to pay attention to. But Georgia didn't look great against Georgia Tech. So it's kind of like on one hand, I'm like, all right, they've been playing well, but they kind of got a little loose against Georgia Tech. So we'll see if they can respond from that. But at the end of the day, man, I think we just got to go out there and we got to know who we are. And I'm not trying to sound like, I know this is kind of like, oh, well, but it's true. Like, we always play a good game when we play these guys, whether it was under Coach Saban or Coach DeBoer. We just have to stick to that and trust that's who we are. We're Alabama at the end of the day. Like you said, next man up. I mean, whether that's Keon Keeley or Jordan Renaud filling in at that bandit position. Personally, I think you'll see Kelby Collins because we've been seeing more of him too. I think you'll see him, Keon, and Jordan Renaud, all three of those guys filling in. And I think that'll be important. But you're right. I mean, last game when we played them, it was basically third down was a key in this game, right? We dominated third down. They couldn't get off the field. But then they also ran for 200-plus yards on us, which we've been a lot better stopping the run. So that's going to be important as well. So there's a lot to look forward to in this game. We'll have to see. I'll be honest with you, though, Slade. I've watched tape and seen where, both of us are at this point since the last time we saw each other. It's hard for me to kind of get a good feel on how this thing could really go, because on one end, I'm like, they had a lot of success running the ball last time, but damn, we've looked so much better stopping the run since then. So there's that. But then I'm like, well, I also know, their quarterback, he's been playing a lot better, been, looking better, throwing the football as well, making decisions. But he just struggled last week against Georgia Tech a little bit. You know what I mean? And I'm like, our offense, I felt we were playing pretty damn good back when we played them. And now recently we've kind of hit a little bit of a bump in the road, so to speak, over the last month. So it's hard to really gauge how this thing could go. Plus, it's an SEC championship game. You'll get both teams' best regardless.
Yeah. I think it's hard to gauge any games across the board in college football now. I mean, it's especially in the SEC, and that's like you hit it perfectly on, whether, God forbid we lose and we got to put, our future in the hands of the committee. It's like you said, we're playing, in Georgia included, we're playing a lot different type of ball and schedule compared to these other teams and these other teams out of these, in these different conferences. I know Big Ten has a pretty good, stature of teams in it, but every week in the SEC, especially now with portal, it's tough. It's very tough. It almost evens the playing field, but hey, still little brother in Atlanta, Georgia. So we got
true.
that for sure.
Yeah, and then hopefully it stays that way this weekend. Again, it's just, in my opinion, going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be a battle, man. I mean, you got on one hand, I mean, we beat them, and I know we always play really well against it, and it seems like we're their kryptonite, but I also understand that vengeance factor. And I know Kirby, man. I know what he's telling those guys. You're probably familiar with Kirby a little bit as well. I mean, listen, he's going to have those guys thinking they're the biggest underdogs. They have no chance. That's what he likes to do. He likes to, give them that rat poison. Them dudes
coming into our home. He's going to pull some Saban quotes, no doubt.
100%. I don't know if you remember this, but like after they won a championship, they're like, all these people said we were underdogs, and everybody was like, what? Favorite in this game against TCU, you know that, right? By like a good bit. I don't know.
Got to find a way to motivate them, right?
100%. All right, so I don't know if you got to get out of here, but we're gonna hit the top hour break. You tell me whatever you want to do, but
it's probably best if I do, as much as I don't want to.
I hear you. Well, big thanks to Slade joining us like he does now pretty commonly. So make sure you guys keep tuning in. We'll get a schedule going for him. That way we can let you guys know exactly. But big thanks to Slim Shady Slade Bolden, former Alabama wide receiver, hanging out with us here on the Miller's Edge. Slade, we appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I'll help you out. You can just keep it Slim Slady, so you ain't got to do both. Just Slim
Slady. Hey, I like it, Slim Slady. Slim Slady.
That's what I was called. I don't know how much it caught on, but that's what people called me.
I like
Not
it.
many.
I like it, Slim Slady. A good deal. We'll hit the top of the hour break. Big thanks to Slim Slady, and we'll do it again soon. You listen to Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Roll Tide.
Appreciate you, bro.
Of course, anytime. Yeah, I was going to say, hey, I can stay on longer, but I saw an email come up, and I'm like,
oh no, you're good.
I need to get on this.
Yeah, no, you're good. No, I figured. I just wanted to give you the welcome if you wanted to.
No, I appreciate it. This is like our busiest time, like with renewals. Everybody's getting ready to select their benefits for the year, so it's all hands on deck. And I got one client that's pretty needy, to say the least. So it's tough.
I understand, man. Well, I'll let you
appreciate
get
it.
to it. Oh, of course. No, appreciate you, man. Yeah, we'll make sure we get you back on here next week because I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about then, and hopefully it's a lot of good to talk about.
Same here. I appreciate it, C-Man.
Absolutely, always, bro. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, have a good one, and let's get this dub, baby.
Let's get it. Let's get it. We need it.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. Later. Good deal. That was Slade Bolden, Slim Slady. Slady's Edge. There you go. That could work. Gelato, $32.99 with the super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Big thanks to that. Let's hit this. This is actually this is interesting, man. This is interesting. Let me throw this on here real quick, just in the background. Boom. All right. Let me get this pulled up. Give me 2 seconds. And we might just watch a little bit of Georgia defense, man. I want to see how they progress. This is them against Texas. I have the clip or the tape of them against Georgia Tech, but it would take a minute to kind of get that loaded up. So I just pulled this. Here we go. Love the show, guys. With that said, is LT holding out for more money? Just a rumor I heard. Man, I'll say this. I think that answer is a big no, right? I don't have that impression at all. And nobody, sorry, I was trying to get a little bit more light in here. There we go. And nobody that I've talked to has led me to believe that to be the case whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying, I guess you'd have to ask him directly, but I'm just telling you from my knowledge and anybody that I speak to, and I can tell you, I mean, anybody I talk to is very, very reliable. Nothing has given me that impression, not even in the slightest. So I don't think you have to worry about that. I mean, I know. I mean, listen, dude's definitely injured. I don't know the extent of it or the details, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I do, because I don't. Personally, I don't know the specifics, but I mean, he's definitely hurt, and I don't think that for a second, especially given that we listened to him, in his interview yesterday and his excitement about playing in this game and knowing him as a competitor. That's not his nature. And last but not least, and this is probably the most important factor for why I know that won't be the case, even if without even talking to him directly. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, remember he transferred. He wasn't here initially. He transferred here from Texas A&M. What he came here for, and when I mean what, I'm saying like what, I don't want to get like, I don't want to be saying too much, but what he was compensated to come here, I guess that's a polite way of putting it, was not anything like crazy, right? I'll just put it like that. So, I mean, the dude wanted to come here because he wanted to come play here. So that should tell you about his character and his intentions, right? Because he didn't, even though he was a top-rated recruit, and I know, a lot of people were definitely interested. I mean, when he chose to come here, with my knowledge on the stuff, he could have made way more going other places, much more. But he elected to come here because he wanted to come here and play at Alabama. So, I understand the question, especially nowadays, right, Gelato? I mean, you can't help but wonder that type of stuff, especially this time of year. But no, I would shoot that rumor down. But big thanks to the super chat. Yeah, of course, man. Thank you so much for the super chat and the support, man. We'll definitely, we're planning on getting Slade on here as much as possible too. So I know you guys enjoy that. So I know we're trying to get it in like a podcast form, but I think we might just start doing it like this for now, and then we'll have that expand and all that good stuff. But yeah, man. But yeah, big thanks to Gelato for that super chat, man. Hey, and listen, that's not like a bad question at all. I hope it doesn't sound like I don't think it's a bad question at all. I just, from my position, I would not think that to be true whatsoever. We really do have a good group of guys, man. Like seriously, like the guys that we have. I mean, in terms of like, I know we live in a world where, yes, I mean, there's compensation and these guys definitely consider that stuff. I mean, I hate to say it, but it would be kind of dumb for them not to, knowing that it's there. But majority of the time, if you're playing here right now in this NIL era, if you're choosing to come to Alabama, there's going to be, yes, some players that are paid handsomely, but I'm just telling you guys what I know. There are other schools that pay a lot more in NIL money. When I say a lot, I mean, I guess it varies. I'm only talking about certain players or positions, right? But these guys could go and make more money, especially coming from here. Like the young players that we have, if they really wanted to. That's why it was really impressive that when we didn't have anybody leaving the portal, some of the young talent that we had, they could have left and they could have gotten paid handsomely, but they chose to stay here knowing that they weren't going to make nearly as much if they would have left. And I think that says a lot about the players that we do have. Speaking of that, I guess we could segue into that recruiting clip while we're talking about this too. And we'll talk a little bit more about this SEC championship game as well. But while we're talking about this, I kind of want to play that clip because it was definitely very interesting for me, at least. Or you guys can tell me, y'all want to go the recruiting route a little bit, or y'all want to stick with Georgia SEC championship? We can do either one. Did somebody say Tim Brando was saying something about Kalen DeBoer? And welcome back into this Thursday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Big thanks to former Alabama wide receiver Slade Bolden, Slim Slady, as he gave us the recommendation there. So I like that, man. Slim Slady, that's smooth. I will say this. I forgot to mention the Slade. We technically have a wide receiver coach position open. And as you guys heard, I mean, Slade, he knows his stuff, especially when it comes to route running, the receiver position, all of the fine details. I mean, he did a great job playing the position while he was here. I don't know. Maybe he needs to come hang around the facility or something for a little bit, and who knows? Obviously, that's not how it works, but that'd be cool though. I think he'd do a good job, man. I think Slade would make a really good coach, man. I need to ask him. Maybe he'd be interested in coaching one day. That said, a couple things we need to hit on. We need to keep talking about the SEC championship. We definitely talked about it with Slade for sure. We'll keep diving into that conversation again. A lot of injuries on both sides. How could that affect this game? We'll talk about it. I wanted to talk a little bit about the whole recruiting thing as well, with signing day being yesterday. There was that clip that came out that was really interesting to me because it really, I mean, I have a good understanding because of everybody I talked to, how that stuff goes on. I mean, those guys included. But I was almost shocked that they were so transparent on that show about literally the inner workings of recruiting nowadays. But I think it was great that they did that because it really paints a solid, clear picture for fans and anybody out there to really understand how it works now. It's not the same, we're just trying to sign 25 of the best players possible. No, I mean, like, it literally is about as closest to the pros as it's ever been. I mean, like, their job is now, hey, we've got this amount for a budget. We've got to be able to sign these guys, but we got to say, hey, do we want to take this guy for this number, or should we pass on him, take a player that's not as recognized in terms of the ratings, but we still feel like he's just as good as a player? That conversation to me was I mean, it had all types of nuggets that you could pull from. So let's go ahead and start there, and we'll dive back into the SEC championship conversation here in a minute. But while we were talking about it during the break, let's take a look at it again. This was yesterday during the signing day show. Chris Stewart was joined by Roman Harper, and then they ended up getting Bob Welton, who I can't remember his exact title, but he's definitely player personnel and recruiting and all that stuff. And then Courtney Morgan, of course, the general manager. They joined the set, and this is what they had to say regarding signing day and the world of recruiting now.
This whole process that is the recruiting nowadays. What do you deem as a full class? I know today they're trying to sign 18, 19. So are you holding back? Like, what is a full class? When I was coming through it was 25. Everybody knew exactly what the number was, where we were trying to get to. Nowadays, it has shaped, it has moved. Kind of point me in the direction of what I should be looking for, or what is a full class anymore?
Yeah, I think you used to base it off of the natural attrition on your roster. Your place was leaving.
Yep.
Now you don't really know with the portal.
Yeah.
Honestly, Bob, we just recruit.
We try to keep it simple. In the world of chaos, we try to keep it simple.
We find the best players.
Yeah, we're just trying to find good football players. Now, unfortunately, now it's got to worry about the cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they cost efficient for what their level of skill is? That's the other part that you've got to take into consideration now. And I don't know, Courtney, if you think that. I think the signing class days of, hey, top 5 ranking class, I think that's out the window.
Oh, wow.
Because, like you said, the numbers are going to be lower.
Right. Yes.
And shoot, how many we took kids that are, you're going to take kids that are maybe lesser ranked because of the money situation, but they're good players.
Right.
But you just can't. It's just how it was.
I want to follow that up. Go ahead, Courtney.
So if you look at the number 1 classes this year, they have 36 commits. Well, the only way you take 36 commits if you have a lot of people leaving your roster. We don't want our players to leave our roster. We feel like we have a really good roster. That's why we're in the position that we're in right now. So to take 36 players, it means you have a plan to remove a lot of people from your roster. So for us, it's identify the best players that equal the value of money that we're willing to spend. So we'll get the best players. We'll figure out, we'll allocate our money properly. But even doing that, we'll also keep in mind we want to keep our players. So you don't want to overspend your high school class because retention costs too.
Okay.
So it's
You bring up the money it's about in retention and all these other things. Which one, for the average fan like myself, which one costs more? Is it out of the portal, or is it out of high school? Or is it the position, or is it just kind of a bundle pack? I have no idea.
I would say it's a mixture of all of them.
Okay.
Because you definitely don't want to overspend the high school players. If you are in the running to get an elite player, you go get them. But the offset is that you might sign a smaller class because we're always being mindful of retention, right? The better you are in retention, the better you are at getting elite high school players, paying the right people, the less you have to spend in the portal. So if you focus on retention and really good high school recruiting and not the rankings, guys that you've identified that can really play. Look at our freshman class now. I think we have 8 freshmen playing right now. So I think we did a good job. So if you focus on that, you focus on retention, then you'll have less needs in the portal.
Okay.
In each one of those buckets, like he just mentioned, I think we do a pretty good job of, we have a budget for each of those buckets.
Right.
Ah, nice. Okay.
So we don't want to spend it all on high school kids, and not have enough for our own team. So you got to really be disciplined, especially today,
right?
Because we're both used to just signing 25, and signing all the good players we can. Because there's no cost to it. In today's world, you got to be like, "Ooh, man, can't do it."
And another thing now that it's funny, we talked about the changing of signing day. Losing a player on signing day doesn't kill you, because that's cool. That's $400,000 more.
Go find a portal guy.
Or give it to someone who's been playing their butt off in the fall. And it's a win-win. You don't cry.
That helps with the retention factor, which is number 1 on your big thing, is that retention.
Retention. So
yes.
Those used to ruin your day.
Oh, yeah.
Now we've had a couple. We're like, we're good.
If he comes, he comes. Because, we can pay this player, that player, and we go to the portal. So, it actually makes Sunday a little easier.
I actually like this. You guys are putting a lot of the fans and viewers of ease. If the guy you've been starring the whole time for 3 or 4 months leaves, hey, it's okay. Yeah. You guys are letting us know right now. So I really do appreciate it.
Even when we're on the sideline in our game and one of our players makes a hell of a play, we're like, hey,
ROI, baby, ROI.
We have to pay that man, right?
Yeah.
So the money has to come from somewhere.
I like
so if
this.
that kid leaves, hey, that's more money to X, Y, and Z.
That was very interesting. Chase, what do you think about that conversation? Like I said, I think they did probably one of the best jobs so far out of anybody really detailing and breaking down this new process called recruiting / retention. Really just management, right? And that's why we have general managers. I think it's very clear, and it's more evident now than ever. You have to have people like Bob. Shout out to Bob. Again, I've known Bob for years, man. I think he came over from Tennessee. He's been there since I was here. And then you got Courtney Morgan now those guys kind of leading the ship. And then you'll see, I think, with the new recruiting documentary stuff coming out here shortly, all the other people involved behind the scenes. But it's crazy, how it's gone from when I was getting recruited, which wasn't that long ago, 2013. I was a junior in high school going on my senior year. The home visits and coaches on the road, which they still do that. But now you're seeing really behind the scenes, these are the guys making everything happen with, hey, man, we got to worry about roster retention, which is their number one priority, which I think makes perfect sense, right? Especially when you have talented guys on the roster, you got to retain them. What good is it to go out there and pay all this money to these recruits if you're not retaining them? So their philosophy obviously is smart. It works. And that's why I think it's very, very good that they said these things so people can finally understand, right? The rankings, they don't really – I've never been a big fan of them regardless, but now I think people really can understand and relax and say, hey, it's not so much about where we are in these rankings. It's more so about the quality of players, the right players, right? Getting the guys that we need and understanding that we're not going to always get as many because we're retaining much more at a higher level compared to some of these other programs out there. Chase, I thought it was just really interesting. I mean, didn't you think that conversation really kind of opened a lot of people's eyes to how things work nowadays?
Man, I really appreciate you putting that on, Christian. Really opened my eyes a lot because to the average fan, really, they don't really know this stuff. They kind of see a ranking system, this amount of points, this is where they're ranked at, and that's it. But now which is the beauty in it, with so much changing behind the scenes, you have to stay on top of stuff because you're right. Roster retention, man. If you're not managing your money right, you can recruit the best player in the world. They're gone next year.
Yeah.
And it's just it's fascinating to me because adding general managers and like you said, like Mr. Bob in the video, it shows that it's not just about a coach going to somebody's house. This is business.
Yeah.
And this is affecting not only the football team of said university, this is affecting basketball, baseball, soccer, because it emulates eventually into those teams, those sports, as well. So I think Bama does an amazing job of keeping the main thing. And, Mr. Morgan said it. He's like, I don't care about the high ranking system.
Yeah.
I'll get somebody an unranked, someone that wasn't scouted right or someone that was overlooked in high school. We can do that, and it's all about really money. Money is, I think it's going to come a point, Christian, I love your thoughts on the other side of this break or whenever you want to go to break. Do you feel like the recruiting aspect, like how you went through it, it's just not going to be a thing anymore? It's going to be where it's like signing, like, they graduate, this is how much they are valued, and we'll just sign them and that's it.
That's a really good question. Yeah, I'll definitely wait till we come back from this quick timeout, and I'll just add this real quick. The other thing that he mentioned that I really liked was, hey, we didn't land this guy. That's okay. We got a number of other guys that we valued and thought are good players, and not in like a salty way. They're just saying like that is what it is. Name of the game. We had a couple guys flip yesterday. Cool. You expect that, but here's the thing: instead of being salty over it, let's say, all right, boom. That means we have extra money in our budget now from what was allocated towards the high school recruiting. So let's go, reward some of the guys that played well. Because listen, for me, being a guy that spent 5 years here, I always have felt, since NIL has been a thing, I felt for the older guys that have been in the program that aren't making that, definitely, especially like in the now, right? They're making a much greater impact than some of these young guys, but those young guys are making more money than them just because they're new and they're fresh and they just came out of high school. That's always bothered me because, listen, I would have been a prime example of that. I would have been a fifth-year guy, probably not being rewarded much, but knowing I put my body on the line the last 4 years, and in doing so now I'm having a much greater impact. But then I've got a young guy coming in our room, and it's not hating on it. It's just that shouldn't be how it is. Now, I understand technically if you're in the NFL, say you're on your rookie deal, and then you got a first-round guy come in your room, he's going to have more bread than you. That's a little bit different. This, to me, that's always bothered me. But to hear them say, hey, we're looking, number one, retaining our guys is important too. Hey, we'll use some of that leftover that we might have from this budget, and we'll compensate our guys and reward them for playing well. I like that. I respect that a whole bunch, and I think that also helps with retaining guys 100%. Hey, man, you've had a great year. We know your value has gone up. You could go somewhere else. we're going to reward you and compensate you. That's how it should be, because now you're almost putting it on as an incentive, like, hey, y'all better go bust y'all's ass, have good years. If you do, you hear the man. He said, hey, dude makes a play. Like, think about it. Let's give you an example. I mean, I would use Xavier Brown, but I'm sure he's probably already pretty well taken care of. But look at how he's balling right now. You don't think they do the thing like, yeah, we know people might be looking at him, man. Make sure we take care of that guy. I'm trying to think of like a young guy who's, maybe not, 90. Boom. Defensive tackle. What's his name? London Simmons. Best believe he's a 3-star coming out of high school. He's a great example of kind of one of the guys that probably we're talking about. We allocate a little bit of money here. We got to take a guy who's a little under the radar, but we've seen him camp. We think he's a good player. Well, they're right about that. He's a damn good football player. Look at the contribution he's having right now. That dude needs to go. They're not needs to. They're going to reassess and give him some money. I see a number of people spamming Red Morgan. Same thing. A guy that probably wasn't recruited nearly as high ends up being a really good football player. He's going to get rewarded, and that's how it should be, in my opinion. Right? Reward the guys that have earned it, that are going out there and contributing, that might not be making as much as some of these other guys. So I like it. But anyway, I just thought that was really cool, and it definitely painted that picture about as clear as possible, because I don't think I've heard any other schools or anybody really talk about it in depth like they did. And that's why I was shocked that they were speaking on all this publicly, because normally they don't really mention these things as much publicly, but that was cool to hear that from them. Let's hit a timeout, catch up on breaks when we come back. Chase, I'll answer your question. We got a super chat from Gelati. Gelati will hit that and answer that as well. Plus, we'll get back to talking some SEC championship matchup. Alabama, Georgia, about a little over what? I would say about 51 hours away or something. It starts at 3. We're 2 days away from it. So I would say about 51 hours away. Will Alabama be able to capture their first SEC championship under head coach Kalen DeBoer? We'll find that out in about 51 hours. But we'll keep talking about it right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Tide 100.9.
Gelato with another $9.99 super chat, man. Thank you, bro. Big thanks to Gelato, man. Shout out Gelato in the chat. When UGA played Texas, the gambles that Kirby took really paid off for the Bulldogs. Well, here's the thing. Look, and I was talking about this yesterday, I think. They just don't really have the same players up front to really get after the quarterback. I mean, we saw that. And so they're having to find ways to be more aggressive, call those blitz, which they try to do against us, but we actually did a pretty good job picking all that pressure up. I mean, we saw them. They're bringing backers. That one backer that they have, who I think at one point was leading them in sacks. I had to go back and look at the numbers. I don't know where it's at now. But, that's kind of their recipe to generate pressure, and I think they've really had to lean into it. That's what good coaches do. It reminds me of, 2017 when me and Terrell Lewis went down. Rashawn was banged up at one point. Anthony was banged up. We were running a lot of safety pressures, bringing back. I mean, you have to find ways to generate pressure, one way or another. And that's what they've done. And they've had some other guys step up too. I want to say there's another guy that I've seen that they didn't play him as much earlier on, but he's been getting some more reps, and he's helped out a little bit. But it's going to be interesting, man. I mean, especially with seeing Dewberry added on the report, Brailsford already banged up. You got a true freshman at right tackle. Cuevas, your starting tight end, out. And you talk about the physicality and winning the line of scrimmage. There is a little concern, if I'm just being completely transparent. I mean, there's a little concern in terms of those things. When Georgia played Texas, I'm sorry, we just read that. But yeah, we got a tape. Matter of fact, let me pull it up real quick. I'll pull it up for you. I thought it was very important for them to speak on how they're handling recruiting NIL. I'm so happy they spoke about it publicly. Courtney Morgan is a gem. Yeah, hey, and they're doing their thing down south too, man. They've adapted well. And the reason I say adapted is because Courtney Morgan isn't from this way either. He played at Michigan, but he's from LA, California. Superfly said Cuevas is questionable. Hopefully that changes. Dan Lewis too. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not expecting Cuevas to play. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not saying I'm right or I know that. I'm just personally, I'm leaning like he's not going to play. Bobo being out is a major concern with Georgia. Absolutely. They've got their fair share of injuries too. I just can't help but look at us and just know, I mean, the guys that we have a number of guys even if they're not out, I mean, like just banged. I mean, like remember Jeremy Bernard missed a game a couple weeks ago. Now I do think he's healthier since then, but I mean, and nobody's healthy, so to speak, right now. But I just feel like we really are a little hobbled, man. And we desperately need some type of break or let our guys just an opportunity to let our guys rest up. You think we see Jam in the playoffs? I think down the stretch, Jam would be back for sure. Yeah. I just don't know if I see him really good to go this week, just because I mean, you're talking about running back. I mean, if he was maybe like Tim Keenan or one of these guys that don't require as much planning and cutting and all that, maybe. But as a back, it's like you got to think about it like this. I mean, if he's at 70%, what would you rather have, a 70% running back who can't really be explosive, cut, do a whole bunch, or would you rather have, just let Daniel Hill, and it's going to have to be AK Deer, right? Because Kevin Riley's out too. So everybody's been calling for AK Deer, man. He's looking to have a big opportunity as an SEC championship game, man. Maybe he has a coming out party. That would be huge. Everybody's been calling for it, man. Hey, you're probably about to get what you've been wishing for, man. Let's hope that we can see him have the results that a lot of people are anticipating. I mean, Daniel Hill will be fine. We know what he's capable of, but you always need to have that second gear, you know. We've seen Jam play injured, and it's not worth it. Should save it until he gets more healthy. Yeah. Whoops. Dom CFB talk with the $4.99 super chat, man. Big thanks, bro. I appreciate you, brother. I hope everybody subscribed to this great channel. Hey, man, big thanks, man. I appreciate the words, man. I appreciate it, man. If you guys haven't, man, do what Dom said, man. Subscribe. We like I said, we love to have you guys. At the end of the day, look, we just come on here, we talk football. I mean, I just enjoy it. It gives me something to do. You know, staying in the media and doing all that stuff. I just enjoy talking, about football, breaking it down, hanging out with you guys, man. It's something I look forward to. And I'm trying to keep doing more and more. That's why we're bringing on more guests. I mean, you guys saw the little intro thing I played, man. And that was all me. I spent hours yesterday making that and working on the stuff. So trying to make it as good as we can for you guys. So, I mean, all the support we definitely appreciate, because I just put it right back into what we're doing. Stuff gets kind of expensive. I ain't going to lie, all the streaming services and, the editing software and all that. But big thanks to you guys for all y'all support, man. Seriously. So thank you, Dom. I don't know. I mean, Dom CFB talk. I don't know if you make content too. I can't really check it out right now, but if he does, go check him out, man. Go check out his stuff for sure. I'm not 100% sure, but sounds like it. Name sounds like it. Dom CFB talk. Big thanks for that, man. I appreciate that. Seriously.
Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Thursday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, Chase, let's start off with a question you asked me. I want to make sure we go back to that. You asked, do I feel, given the state of recruiting where everything's at right now, that the world of like the home visits and all that, like that whole process, you asked, do I feel like that's a thing of the past? Is that the question, Chase?
Yes.
I can't help but feel that we're kind of trending that way. I don't think it's completely gone, because I do know, especially here, those guys you just heard from in that video we just played, they value relationships. And in a world where, yes, money kind of drives the ship, unfortunately, I know people don't want to hear that, but that's where we're at right now. I mean, unfortunately, more times than not, you have players that are wondering, hey, how much can I make? And it's easy to fault the players, but you can't fault these guys, because if you think about it, if you were 16, 17 years old, hell, some of these guys are as young as 15 years old, and they're already having people flaunting money in their face. And they're being offered things of value. And some of them come from situations where they've never seen that type of money, and then they have families that might be in need, or you get what I'm saying? It's you almost can't blame them, just blame the system. It's the system's fault. Speaking of that, I mean, even just listening to like I just hope everybody understands, the situation that they're in, and they're approaching the correct way, and they have the right resources around them. The reason I think about this, I don't want to go too far off path, but I don't know if you guys saw or heard the whole thing with Odell Beckham Jr. talking about the $100 million contract, how quick it goes. You sign a $100 million contract, but in reality, it's really only $60 million post taxes, agent fees, everything else. You're taking care of people around you. You're spending good money on goods and things that you probably don't need, but things that you want to flex, you want to floss. I don't even want to go down that bridge because I'm just going to be honest with you. I know Ryan Clark said people are clickbaiting or just trying to take Chase. I'm sorry. If you blow through that amount of money, you just have very, very extremely poor financial literacy, poor discipline, or you surround yourself with the wrong people. I'm just saying, because if people only knew like how money really works, dude, even post taxes, he literally could have put 20, let's see, 25% of $60 million is $15 million. You don't even need that much, but say he did in like a money market or some type of brokerage account, and say it's, it's well diverse, but say they always say, the average is about 10% annual return, right? That's what you're aiming for. I know it's going to be more, it's going to be less, say on average. We'll keep the math simple here. Say he put $10 million away and just like forgot about it. If you're earning on average about 10%, that's paying him $1 million annually. So so people that say like that are trying to like, I'm not saying I don't feel bad for him, because I understand the pressure of, family and stuff like that, but you gotta learn how to say no, number one. But number two, bro, you don't even even if you wanted to go do all the dumb stuff, if you would have just took a certain amount and put it away and let it do its thing, annually. And then you talk about compound interest. Then the next year you're getting, on average 10% of what that is, and it compounds. Dude, like, come on, man. I say all that to say, I hope these guys nowadays, these recruits are thinking like that, because I'm not saying they're making $100 million or $60 million. They're not even close. However, you can't tell me, dude, if you're a high school guy or going to college and you got the opportunity to earn like $500,000 in a year, which not many of them have that opportunity, but say they do. You're afforded clothes, you're afforded the education, you're afforded a whole bunch of food, not 24/7, but damn near, 80% of the time. Outside of maybe a phone bill and the gas and stuff like that, brother, save all that damn money and do what I just said. Let that money get to work, and then you don't have to worry about the whole Odell Beckham Jr. problems. Like, I'm just telling you guys, I didn't make nearly $60 million, not even close to it. I was paid handsomely, for, time I was, playing professional. But I'm just telling you guys, if you manage your money right, you should not be in that position. So always educate yourself on finances. That said, to answer your question, Chase, yeah, I feel like it's a part of the past somewhat, but at the same time, not completely, because relationships are still very important. They're extremely important. And I think that's why we're able to recruit so well and not necessarily be paying, these blank checks out like you might see. And I'm not like, to try and hit people with strays, but you hear about the Oregons, Ohio States, and how much they're putting Texas, A&M, these schools, how much they put towards that. The reality is we're not on quite that level. Why are we still able to recruit as well as we do? The relationships. So while on one end, yes, it's changed a lot, and that's not as important, it still is very important. I think we're seeing that, at least for us. I think that's why we're fortunate to have not only the brand that we have, but the people that we have, the culture that we have. In a world where everything's going against that, we're still holding on to that, and I think that bodes well for us when you combine it with everything else that we do have to offer here at Alabama, which is good, man, which works out really good. Let's do this to stay on schedule. Let's hit another quick timeout, because I know we've been combining a little bit. Then when we come back, we'll dive into some more Alabama, Georgia talk. We got KJ on the line. We haven't heard from KJ in a while, man. Love to hear his thoughts. I know he at least he spent a lot of time in that backyard. I don't know where he's living at nowadays, but maybe he can give us some vibes on Georgia and how all that is going on right now ahead of this matchup. I'm sure he'll probably be there too. So we'll talk with him. We'll break down some more SEC championship. We got the tape pulled up. If we have some time, we'll watch some clips here in a minute, and then we'll keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Your flagship home of Alabama sports. Alabama, Georgia. CCH Regional Medical.
I'm sorry, you guys can't tell me nothing now that we added the little intro. And I see what I did there. I went and I edited a little bit to have it, during the show when if I need to go take a quick timeout or something real quick, I can throw that on there. Presentation looks good. I know you guys are getting tired of seeing that. I'm sorry, man. It's the first day with it, so I'm spamming it a little bit. But yeah, man, you can't tell me nothing right now. I feel like I should be working with Apple right now with my creative skills, man. I'm kidding. Student athletes still have parents who not only care about the money, but also about who's leading and developing their kids and their education aspects as well. Yeah, that's true. And it looks different for everybody. And that's why, again, I don't listen. I can't speak for everybody or their situation. I'm not going to try to. All I can do is speak from my experience and understanding how money works, right? And people, contrary to what a lot of people believe, right? There's a misconception like, oh, well, your dad played in the NFL. You grew up spoon. No, my parents got divorced when I was probably about 8 years old, and I was raised by a single mother. So contrary to popular belief, even though I had a dad that played in the NFL for 9 years, my dad blew all his money by the time I was probably 5 or 6 years old. My dad was in debt. And then add on top of that, my mom was a single mother. You know what I mean? And she didn't have help. So, it's crazy, man. I'm very fortunate for my experience that I've seen both sides of it. Granted, I was a really young age, but I went from living in a house that would have probably been valued at several $1 million in, now. Back then, obviously, prices were different. To then being raised by a single mother who I watched sell a lot of her stuff, right? Whether it was jewelry or whatever she could to come up with stuff to, to pay bills and to put food on the table for me. And then fast forward, everything ended up being better. I'm not saying I grew up, like terrible. Like she did everything she needed to provide a good, trust me, I'm not saying I grew up like there's some kids that are definitely, but I'm just saying like to have a dad that played in the NFL was not the upbringing that most people would think. To then being put in a position where, I make it to the league and I'm able to, get, a pretty hefty signing bonus and make some money. What I'm getting at is I've seen both sides of it and I understand from experience that as long if you are in a position, right, where you could get a lump sum of money like you do if you get drafted or if these guys are making NIL money, the worst thing that you can do is just completely start this is the advice I would give anybody. Once you get the money, that doesn't mean you need to start altering your habits or start acting like you have the money. Once you get the money, continue to act as how you did before you had the money. And that's how you sustain the money. Does that make sense? Like just because I made 7 figures before I was 23 years old, that didn't mean like once I had 7 figures that I was just going to magically start buying stuff that I didn't need or no. Now, some things do change. Like, yes, you probably want to live in a more secure area, right? Being a person of status, I understand that. But you don't need to go and buy this house, that house, or, you have to have a place in the off season, right, to stay. What I did was always rented a place during the off season, right? And then I rented a place where I was playing because, unless you have a second contract, you shouldn't buy a house necessarily. But then like I talked about, but if you do have an opportunity to get large lump sums of money, man, the money that you don't need to be spending instead of going out and buying, jewelry or cars or things that a lot of athletes tend to buy, man, put it away. Let the money work for you, right? Dividends, right? Assets that appreciate in value, real estate. And the good news is I can tell you guys, these guys actually, man, they have a lot of people that help them out. And there's a number of guys like student athletes that actually invest in real estate. And they have people like realtors that help them actually buy housing and, apartments and stuff while they're here and help them prepare that if they want to, rent it out when they do leave here and stuff like that, they can do that. So I'll be honest, Alabama does a really good job with that stuff. So in terms of that whole deal, you guys can feel a little bit better about that. Alabama does look out for their guys. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, we got a whole bunch of conversation going on today, man. A bunch of good talk going on. Now I'm looking forward to talking to my guy KJ, man. It's been a minute. KJ, man, welcome in.
What it do?
Where you been at, man? I mean, you in and out. You come in, you gone for a couple months.
Definitely in and out, man. Definitely in and out, man. I've been working, but definitely in and out. I'll be spying on you, man. I'll be listening. I just can't call in.
There you go.
Obviously, as much as I used to. So
fair enough.
So, yeah, but I do definitely be spying, man. I'll be hearing the conversation, like the Odell conversation about this money on, man.
What do you think about that?
So I'm in marketing, so I kind of always let people know, like in terms of like whether you're an athlete, whatever type of brand that you do have, whatever you have to be consistent with whatever that brand is. So with Odell, like he is different from any other athlete. Like he has he almost all in a sense like made it. He was like one of the most popular, most famous athletes at the time. You know what I mean? In terms of being famous. So he had a different set of responsibilities. He couldn't just go home and just chill. You know what I mean? And come and just play football and he was hanging out with the Kim Kardashian.
Wait, hold on. You said he couldn't. Wait, you said he couldn't. No. He was choosing. No, he could. No. Nobody told him to go Hollywood now. I mean, I'm not saying I blame him. I mean, when you have that opportunity afforded to you to be around all these A-list celebrities, and I'm sure all the fun stuff that comes with that. I'm just saying he had a choice.
Well, it's in him. I felt like it's in him regardless. So that was going to come out. But some people choose that. Like some people choose that lifestyle. Some people desire that lifestyle. I think that he was the type of person that desired and wanted that lifestyle. Put it like that. Like he is a star. So you got to do star things. You got to be around. You don't have to do it, but you got to get a jet. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you got to fly private. You can't go air compressor. Like it's a different set of things. I don't know, man. It's different.
I mean, I guess listen, and I understand that aspect, but that's what comes with surrounding yourself by those people, because you know how they're spending money and what
you
it takes
live
to
like
do
them.
that.
Yeah, you have to not even appear to live that way, because a lot of them don't even really have the money. They're just appearing to live that way. So
like a lot of these rappers.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of like, funny conversation. Honestly, I was looking for like some Supreme gear. And I was asking him, like, how much is this? And the guy gave me the price. And I'm like, do you realize, like, I know, like, 5 different athletes that you give this stuff to for free? Like, I'm not paying for this. Like,
isn't it funny how that works? Normally, the people with more money normally get, like, the free stuff.
The free thing.
Yeah.
That's why I always say, like, even, like, with this game coming up, like, the game, right? Obviously, I don't have the same type of connections that I used to have in terms of Alabama, right? So, I'm thinking like, all right, like, yo, I don't remember the last time I paid for a ticket. Like, how do I even do it? Like, how do I even do it?
Yeah, that's fair. Good luck paying for them. How much are they going for right now? I haven't even looked.
I haven't checked. I've refused. So, but I was saying that to my mom. My mom was like, "What? Like, I've been paying for like you've been all this time. You've been getting your tickets for free." I'm like, "You've been paying?" She's like, "Yes." When I go to sports games,
wow.
I pay. I'm like, "No, just ask me. Like, I will find you somewhere. We'll get you on the guest call." But isn't that crazy that how many people have to? It's just weird, man.
Yeah, I mean,
weird. But yeah, so you are right though. He needs to be a little bit more. I mean, I think it just comes like that's why I do teach. You have to have financial literacy. Like starting from step A to step Z, because you got to think of it. That was the last thing possibly on his mind. Like, dude, like LSU, they're not trying to break down no. Like, come on, this was the man that was giving $100 bills in the championship game. You remember that when he was?
Oh my, yeah, I did. I'm sure he wants that back. I mean, I'm trying to figure it out if like he genuinely is like in a bad position. I don't think he's that bad off.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. Like, I don't think Odell is not wanting for anything right now, y'all. Like, I think he was just talking about the amount of money that he blew, and he's now coming to grips with that. I don't think.
But listen, that's everybody though. Like, even dude, talk to my dad again. My dad played 9 years in the NFL. He has no problem me saying this. It's part of his testimony. He always talks about.
Yeah.
Dude, that dude literally. Yeah, dude, that dude again playing in the NFL 9 years now. What they made back then was literally like peanuts to what they get paid now. I mean, like literally back then, like a big contract might be like, oh, he got a $3 million deal over 4 years. Like he just got a second contract versus now. I mean, we're talking about like $80 million. It's a lot different. But still, if you ask him, it's the same thing. He's like, dude, because I watched that dude would have a new car like every 3 months. And listen, I know people are probably because they know me, like I like trading in and out of stuff, but I do it strategically where when I'm buying cars that are slightly used where they're not taking a hit, he was just buying a brand new car knowing it's immediately depreciate like 25%. He doesn't care. And that's what a lot of these other guys, they have that mindset like, oh, I just signed this deal. I just got drafted. Oh, it doesn't matter. But then they look back 10, 15 years down the road and it's like, dang, that was dumb. You know, they have buyer's remorse, it's regret. Because if you look at it, like, again, if you do the math, even if you, and I say if, like it's not much, but we're saying a guy in the league that say he's made like $10 million in his career. Say you take 10% of that and just put that away. I mean, literally, man, just like let that grow and do its thing and let even more. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's about discipline. Like literally just like let it sit there. It literally will make money on its own. Like, and I think if people really knew that's how it worked, like these players, they would be like, oh hell yeah, sign me up. But instead they want the instant gratification of, oh man, I gotta get this chain. No, man, like bro, once you train your brain to be wired, like, no, I can either buy this that's going to depreciate in value, or I can sit there and put this into this and this property, whatever, and it's going to make this over the course of X amount of years.
You can still do both.
No, and I recommend that. Listen, I'm not saying you starve yourself of anything. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably on the extreme side where, like, dude, I hardly get myself anything. I really don't. Like,
but
my mindset is
I'm sure it's something that you do have though that other people will be like, I'm not paying that for that. Like, you know what I mean? I think
dude, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm not even kidding. You can ask anybody that I know. There's probably not much. No, listen. No, hear me out. There was a phase where like I never been into shoes. Like I always used to wear like boots and stuff in college. Then I like got into like getting some dunks a few years ago. And so yes, I did buy some shoes. But when I tell you, like, for the most part, and even right now, bro, I'm not kidding, bro. Like literally the jacket I'm wearing right now, bro, I've had this since I was like 19. If I had this almost like 10 years, bro.
But I'm serious.
I'm serious. Listen, I'm serious. Dude, ask anybody I know, bro. Like, they make fun of me. They think I'm like the cheapest person. I'm like, bro, it's just for like, bro, I don't eat out a whole bunch. I'm very frugal because I just understand. Like,
I'm the man.
Yeah, it's a waste.
I'm the dork. Like, I know where my money. I'm wasteful with DoorDash.
Yeah.
Man, that's the whole bill. Uber fees, Uber and DoorDash.
It adds up, man. I tell people all the time, bro, people don't understand how much they spend on like fast food and things like that. And it adds up so much versus like for me, like I meal prep everything. So I mean, on average, I'm probably paying $4 a meal because I'm cooking, and it's good food too. I mean, it's like hibachi chicken, it's spaghetti, it's shrimp linguine, like it's good healthy food, and it's only probably $4 a meal versus you go eat out nowadays, that's $14 each time.
Yeah, I'm not cooking, but I get your point. But man, about this, like about the season, man. Since the season's over with, I'm absolutely shocked that Kane Womack is the better coordinator this season. Like, I ain't mind blown by that. I did not have that on my bingo card at all for this year. I am so shocked.
It's time to give him some love now, right? I mean, cause listen, I understand last couple of years, or at least last year and a half. I mean, a lot of people could definitely be a little critical at times, especially with the Russian defense. But sure enough, man, I mean, this defense looked pretty damn good. I know my dad still probably find a thing or two, but I'll be honest with you, man. Like, listen, they walk the walk. Like, yeah, he's always gonna find something. But listen,
But you know what? Like, go ahead. They hunt the football. They are
absolutely
hunting for their football. They look like wolves and they smell blood. I saw a play where Xavier Brown, it was like it was a run, and he was hitting at the football. Nothing happened. There was nothing happening in that. But the following play after that, he actually got the ball out doing the same thing. That was the ball that went out of bounds. Like the play before that, he was still trying to hit the ball. Then that next play, the ball actually came out, but it bounced out of bounds. And I'm like, yo, these people are literally hunting the ball. So everybody was like, Arm's trying to turn over. They're not trying to turn over the football. These people are hunting the football. They hunt the football.
No, they do. They definitely do.
I mean, this game protect the football.
No, 100%. Yeah, and I was going to say another guy that we know, Bray for sure. Oh, he's always headhunting, and he's always got a hat on the football. But the next guy that comes to mind is Nikhai Hill-Green, man. He's always punching at the football. And listen, there's a reason he's gotten so many more snaps throughout the course of the year, to the point where I feel like they're kind of like on a rotational thing. Like every other series type deal. And I get it, right? Especially when you're playing a lot of nickel, only having 2 inside backers on the field. But he's one of those guys that, you got to find ways to get him out there because he's physical, man. Every time I turn on the tape of our defense now, I mean, anytime he's in there, he's flying, running downhill. Like that stuff we saw week 1 where guys are kind of waiting and nah, man. Like they made a decision. I don't know what was said in the meeting after Florida State or whatever, but they made the decision like they're not going to sit there and be called soft anymore. And I think that's been one of the biggest reasons this defense has looked so much better. And not even just that. And I think like Deontay Lawson looks more healthy now. Maybe part of it too is he's not playing as many snaps because he's rotating a little bit with 41 too. I don't know, but I agree with you, man. K. Womack's done a really nice job.
On great. I was talking to a scout the other day about Lawson. Lawson, yeah, he's been on great, man. I think there's going to be a game too as well where I think we finally going to have to hit on the deep ball. Like I think Kirby's seeing the percentages of it. I think Kirby's going to like smother and stay inside. He's going to box up, stay right inside the box. Even though he knows we can't run the ball, he's just going to be anticipating short passes and things of that nature. The intermediate passes, the passes. Never mind. I'm not even going to go there.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. If we hit the deep balls, we have to hit the deep balls to be able to win this game, man. We got to at least have 1 or 2 completions to push them back. We push them back a little bit, man. I think we have an opportunity to go ahead. Not do we have an opportunity to go ahead and win? I think we own them. Like we own Georgia, just like Oklahoma owns us. We own Georgia. So I'm ready.
Dang, wait, you're already putting that label on it? You would go as far as saying that Oklahoma's got our number? I mean, I could say they got our number, but I don't know about owning us though. Well, I don't know the history of the match too well. I think
the history. I think when you go back in the historical matchups, and I think they own us, man.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Listen, I'll tell you this. I definitely think the explosives are going to be, much needed in this game. I mean, listen, Georgia defense looks a lot better since we played them last. We know the inconsistencies that we've had running the football, even though it's been better, and hopefully we can build off of that. Just you see Dewberry's banged up, and you already know Brailsford's banged up as well. So Vandemark, he was kind of the filling guy at guard as well. So, I mean, hell, he might be playing musical chairs this game, playing a little guard, playing a little center, who knows, than Jam being, banged up and probably not going. It's going to be interesting watching that matchup. I'll say this, though. I do think there should be some opportunities to hit some explosives. I mean, I'm watching this Texas game now. I mean, listen, Georgia's going to do what they did against us earlier on in the year. They're going to bring pressure. They're not afraid to bring backers. And so, I mean, normally when you're seeing those looks, right, those zero pressures, you got a lot of man coverage. Hopefully there should be an opportunity or two. I mean, hell, we saw one early against Georgia, and, Ryan unfortunately dropped it. Let me ask you this, man. Give me your thoughts on Ryan, man. You think he's going to have a little bounce back game anytime soon, or you think we might as well just wait for next year to see if he can kind of, get everything cleaned up?
I think if I'll be completely honest, if I was Ryan's, if I was his parent, or if I was his agent, or if I was anyone, I don't think I would be considering staying at Alabama. Just
whoa! Why do you say that?
And the reason why I'm saying that is because
you about to make a lot of people mad with that one.
Yeah, it seems like it's a disconnect between him and the OC, and they've been trying to I don't know, it's almost been falsifying what's going on in a sense. And I'm not speaking of any inside information. I'm just speaking on just from what I can see, right? Like the OC does any playmaker, you get the ball in the hands of the playmaker, right? And he seems like he is unwilling to do that, like almost in a stubborn sense of like, no, like in the drops that Ryan did have unfortunately it helped contribute to his case of saying I don't have to give him the football, right? And there were obviously there were things that Ryan needed to improve upon in terms of technique and things of that nature. And then Ryan already is not necessarily the typical prototype receiver that they want in their system. If I'm Ryan's agent, I will be asking the question: are we system oriented in terms of our receivers, or we get the best player of the football in terms of our receivers? Wow. And if you're not get the ball to the best player, I got to go to a coach that will do that.
Wow, man. And of course, I mean, we're about out of time today. So I mean, you're dropping it on that one, man. You're gonna have a lot of people definitely gonna be responding to that one probably on these other shows. Listen, let me just ask you this real quick before we get out of here. We got like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You don't think it could be, attributed to the fact that, listen, you got Jeremy Bernard, who's a more overall, complete wide receiver, right? And I think we all can agree on that. At least right now. I know Ryan has a higher ceiling, but right now, Jeremy's a more complete wide receiver. That's a fact. You bring in a guy like Horton, and then on top of that, you got a young guy in Latsier Brooks, who, I mean, he's been very reliable. Now, he's had a couple drops here and there. I'm not saying he's perfect, right? He had one against Auburn, but in terms of some of the stuff he's been doing, bro, I mean, look, from my point of view as a player, this is how I look at it. I mean, look, you feed the people the opportunities that have the hot hand or that have been providing. And to me, I'm just saying, I mean, he's in a little bit of a slump right now. He's gotten some. He's gotten some, but I also can't help but notice when I watched on tape, some of the routes I was watching him run on tape, and then maybe the ball wasn't coming to him or whatever, but it didn't always. Like, there's a couple plays. I'm not saying he's taking plays off, but there were a couple plays or some routes that I just kind of didn't see. It didn't. I'm like, maybe he's not fully healthy, maybe, and I hate to be that guy. I don't know, but who knows, man? That's interesting.
And listen, it's not like they don't know his potential because they use him as a decoy, so you know what he possessed, and even that, like they know what that is. He's still the second leading receiver on the team on a down year. So what are we doing?
True. He's got the talent. I also think on his end, he also could get a little bit better in some of the fundamental stuff, especially now that they're asking him to play other spots. I think he needs to develop. I think last year we got a little too, get overboard with like, the splash plays. But if you really watch him, there's a lot of things that he can fine tune just like everybody else. But KJ, we got to get out of here. I don't want to run overboard, man. Good hearing from you, man.
All right, man. Y'all take care. Be blessed.
Yes, sir. You too, brother. Be easy. Good deal. It's been a fun one here on the show today. Big thanks to everybody. Chase Behind the Glass, all our listeners, Title 100.9, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Got to be quick here. So just make sure you guys are back here tomorrow because we will do Prediction Friday and put a bow on the whole Georgia matchup with a lot more information and breakdowns right here on the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We will see you guys tomorrow.
You've been listening to the